to this coaches session. All coaches and maybe some athletes, I guess, will join us on this 1 hour session. Good to have you here all. The main focus of this session will be equipment in Paranordic skiing. So we're going to start with the first guest, which is from the company Tessier, which has been producing sit skis for alpine skiing for a long time, and which now works with developing of sledge or sit skis for cross-country skiing. So I see you are ready. Richard Roll from Tessier.
Yes, I'm ready. Just share my screen. I hope all of us are hearing me well. So good evening, everybody. So I represent the company Tessier, which is located in France. And I'm going to introduce in a few minutes our new equipment, which is a cross-country innovative sledge called Escape. To start, just a short presentation of Tessier company. We design, we produce, we assemble and sell the worldwide biggest range of equipment for adaptive skiing. We are specialized for alpine skiing, and we started 2 years ago with a cross-country sledge. The company began 25 years ago, and now we are 10 co-workers. 70% of our equipment is sold in 45 countries all over the world. Escape, in a few words. So here you have a presentation of SolidWorks design. On Escape, you have a lot of possibilities of adjustment. The center of gravity can be set like this: sitting angle, sitting height, and footrest length. We offer 3 kinds of footrest: a short one for small skier or for people who are looking forward to ski with a more compact position, to be more active, more strong. A standard one you can see on the video, and a long one for tall skier or for people with some special kinds of disability like rigid knee joints, for example. The 2 levers you can see in action now on the video are optional brakes. The weight of the frame is 3.5 kilograms, including the short footrest and without the brakes. If you include the brakes, it's 4.9 kilograms.
Sorry, Richard, we don't see the presentation. I don't see it. If anyone sees it, it's maybe okay, but I can see, I just see you. So if you have like a video or something, if it's possible to have it on screen so we can see it.
You don't see my screen?
No, I just see you.
Okay.
That's nice to see you, but I think you have a presentation there. Now it's better.
Okay. So I guess you heard me. So just a few seconds to let the video going over, and I continue with my explanation. Sorry for that. So you have all the technical specs here, and now on the next video you have just a 2-minute video to show and explain in a few words with some examples all the settings available with Escape. I will give you more details on the bindings and fixation just after. So here you can see all the possibilities of adjustment for center of gravity and sitting height and sitting angle. Okay. Now some explanations about available seats, bindings, and accessories for leisure practice, and of course the price. So Escape is available with some seats with or without backrests. The seats are from the same molds that are seats for alpine skiing, so we have a wide range of equipment, wide range of seats from 29 to 45 centimeters wide at the hips, with a lot of possibilities of customization, especially about the backrest height, shape, etc. Escape is designed to be fixed on the skis using two front parts of bindings mounting in opposition. So the sledge is well maintained both forward and backwards, and the stance between the two bindings is 275 millimeters. Escape is not only designed for racers, and it's mainly developed for leisure activities. So here you can see the available Canva multi-size seat for collective use in two sizes. And we also have an option with a pulka type traction for people who need some assistance for going more forward, or for people with disability who can completely ski by themselves. The price of the frame is 1,875 euro for the frame. The optional brakes are about 200 euros, and the seats are from 532 euro, just considering the seating part, and about 900 euro if you have a complete seat with a backrest. So now if you have questions, please.
If anyone has some questions, you can write it in the chat. I guess Elke have 100% control. And if any one of you other coaches have questions, feel free to ask. I think we're going to have some questions also in the end of this session here, so it's time.
So now we get a question. So from Gary, please, Gary, unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi Richard. Good morning. It looks fantastic, incredible bit of kit, and the price looks pretty reasonable as well for that kind of spec and technology. Is it worth having lock-in nuts for a quicker position change, or would that maybe affect strength and stability if there was a fall, for example?
Yeah, to make all the adjustments like center of gravity, height angle, sitting angle, you have to release 4 screws. So you just need two tools, one BTR tools and one key number 13. But it's not made to be quickly set and mountable and dismountable, because if you have a quick tool, it's quicker to make the change, but it's less reliable, and you have some play when you use the equipment. So it's only 4 screws, and maybe it requires a few minutes, but this is the choice we have done.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much, Richard.
Yeah, thank you. Was developed with some athletes around. Yes, there is a question.
Yeah,
question is, yes, it has been developed in France first with some athletes, but not international athletes, but some of them will make some international race or some Paralympics, but more than 10 or 12 years ago. But yes, it has been designed and developed closely with participants. You're welcome.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Same to you. Goodbye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
And I think we're going to continue now. We want to hear some experiences from Norway, Germany, and USA. So I think first out, Rolf Rombach, head coach in Germany.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. It's Ralph from Germany, and thank you, Richard, for this nice video. Looks fantastic. This module.
Is it possible that we can see you?
Oh yeah.
Rolf.
Sure.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. So my perspective is coming more from the high elite side, so to say, and how we handle the problem to get an athlete in the sit ski from the start until the high performance level. And I just wanna tell you how we did it in the last 10 years since I'm responsible head coach of the German team. And the problem is, as you maybe imagine, that everyone is an individual case. So it's not so easy to find a super perfect solution where you can buy somewhere in a shop. So, and our structure is like follows. When we have someone who is interested in sit skiing, then first we took a sit ski who was built from a company in Germany. It's called SRB. They are more known for roller skis, and for many years ago we talked to each other, and then they decide, okay, we built 3 different kinds of sit skis for 3 different positions. So to say, the LW10 position with high knee up, then a position with a 90 degrees hip angle, and a position with more than 90 degree angle. And so with this one, everyone can start more or less. These sit skis are also produced to use on roller skis, which is very important because it's at the beginning it's easier to start in summer, often somewhere on a bicycle path or something like that. And for that reason, it's very important that the sit skis goes for roller skis as well. And they also have roller skis for gravel road, which works quite good. A little bit heavy, but in total it works quite well. So this is the solution we have when we want to put someone new into a sit ski. But when it comes to a more interesting level, and they say, okay, this is my sport, I want to go further and want to become a better, faster athlete, then it's necessary to build a custom-made sit ski. So until now, we didn't find a solution who fits for many people. It's not possible, I think. So this is our experience, and for that we found it's in maybe it's a special German thing. It's called orthopedic mechanic company. So this is from a medical company. So there are many all around Germany. They are responsible to fix prostheses on patients or produce wheelchairs or things like that, or produce special shoes for someone with who needs special shoes. So this business is called orthopedic mechanical company. So, and we found one company, they are also good in carbon, and then our solution is to make custom-made sit skis. You can imagine it's not the cheapest way, but I'm quite sure if it comes to international level, like World Cup level, it's necessary to have really good equipment. Like in other sports, I think it's always the same. And so this is the equipment side. And then I have some other experience that I can tell you, which is very important, I think. There is a common meaning that for each disability, like for example at LW10, it's the best position is to have knees up with a really low hip angle. Like this is the upper body, this is the lower body. So this is a typical position for LW10, whereas a typical position for a 12 is with an open hip ankle. But I think this is not the most important thing. I had some athletes LW10 which are quite better in sitting on the feet. So I don't know the English word. So with a quite open hip ankle, but they feel much more comfortable than the other position. The most important thing is that the sit ski must fit like a ski boot on an alpine skier. So the sit ski must end at the point where the function starts. The rest of the function of the body starts. There should the sit ski end. So it's really important to have a individual solution like a ski boot for an alpine skier who's made every foot is different. So, and here it's the same situation. So this is what I want to tell you, what my experience is on the whole process. Yeah, so that's all so far. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ralph. If you have also more questions for Ralph, it's possible. Maybe going to have the questions in the end of the coach's presentation here. So I think we continue with Norway, you know. But thank you, Ralph Rombach, for your presentation.
Okay.
Good. We have Norway the next out with Magnus Evenby, coach for the Norwegian para team, together with Anders Feim from Skeno AS, a company that develops sit skis. They will present how the national team and the equipment supplier work together to develop products. So feel free, guys. Anders is there.
Hello.
And Magnus, maybe?
Yeah, do you hear me and see me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I see you as well. Perfect. Then we have both of you.
That's good. Okay, so hello everyone. Here in Norway, we have been talking a lot about sit skis the last year. Björn, my colleague, and I have a lot of thoughts, and we hope soon to start a project to design a brand new sit ski. And our goal is to create a sit ski with an attachment system that becomes like the standard for all sit skis, at least in Norway, so they can use the same skis. And then with a personalized seating system. And we have a strong belief that by changing the center of gravity on a sit ski from what it's typically is today with the center of gravity on the back of the bindings to a more like standing center of gravity where it's on the front of the binding. We hope this will benefit more on the skis constructions with chambers and everything. But this is just a theory we have, and we have a lot of testing and thinking, and yeah, to ahead before we know the outcome of this. But Anders, the next speaker, he has his own company called Skeno, and he has made the sit skis for our current athletes, sitting athletes, and we are very satisfied with them. He has also helped us on repairs of some old on other sit skis during the last seasons. And the Skeno sit ski is very adjustable, and that is very good for our new athletes who haven't really figured out what's the best position to sit in, or they're able to do a lot of adjustments and try different sitting positions. So they can be personalized almost for everyone. But Anders is going to tell you more about this. So thank you, and over to you, Anders.
Okay, I will try continue. Do you hear me? Okay. Now I'm gonna go. Sorry. I'm gonna try show you. Sorry.
No problem. Take your time.
Let's see. Now it should work. Okay, try again. Okay, I don't understand why my PowerPoint is not showing right now. Because I tried.
We have our technical guy here, Per-Erik. Maybe he can help you to.
Yes,
right bottom.
Panosk.
Yeah. Is it the sharing bottom, or is it on your computer?
The sharing. When the options you have is skjermdeling or PowerPoint, but at the PowerPoint there says no files available.
Yeah, but is it possible to just share the screen, like screen 1, and turn it up there?
I can try. Just do like this. Do you see me now, the screen? And
maybe it's loading.
Okay, we tried, and you get everything. I hope we don't have anything.
Something is happening here.
Okay, then we try.
There.
Like this?
Yeah. There you are. Yeah.
Okay, then we start again. Hello, my name is Anders. I started Skeno with a friend in 2013. I'm a mechanical engineer. So this working in Skeno is actually a dream job, combining mechanical stuff and sports. We have worked with the Norwegian ski team for several years in different projects, but always the same goal: making a sled and making it better and better. The main idea when we start was to make an adjustable sled to so the athletes could be able to test different sitting positions, even though they thought they knew the best position. We wanted to have it adjustable, and when they had it adjustable, they actually changed the sitting position, even though they were sure they had the best one. And they could try different. If they had an idea, that could just try it. And as I said, it's adjustable, meaning you can adjust on the sled without just main tools and not changing parts. I can show you on a picture later. And it's model based, like IKEA. Like you can change some of the parts, you don't have to change everything. And it's made up in main parts, a frame, a seat, knee support, leg support, and we have different options on each point. The frame is the same. The frame is the main part, the aluminium part. It's maybe a bit difficult, maybe it's better on this picture. It's the black metal square in the bottom, and as it's a angled tube, I'm not sure if you can see it, in between the leg support, from going from down up to the left, and the silver tubes going up to the seats, the seat. That's the main frame. That's the main part. Every part is attached to that part. So you can change the seat. Until now, we just had one seat, but we can make different seat. If you need a customized seat, we can make it. And you can change the seat height by, like on a bike, just release a few clamps. You see, if you see the arrow, then it's a clamp in the middle of the silver tube and lower. Then you can lower and raise the seats just so much you want, in between 40 and 30 centimeters above the skis. And in that way, you can test if you want a few centimeters lower, higher, or whatever you want. The knee support are individual adjustable. So if one of your legs are longer than the other or shorter, you can slide it back and forth. It's clamped on the main frame. 2 clamps on each support. You can just slide it back and forth. If you have one leg that's much shorter, like you want to lift it, you can add an extra clamp just on top of the other. Then you can raise the knee. You can still slide it back and forth. And you can build as many as you want on top of each other. 3 is the most we have done. And the leg support, you can slide it back and forth. So in that way, you can easily adjust the sled to a lot of different sizes. This sled, the main sled can be adjustable in between 180, 185 centimeters down to 150 without changing any parts. Or only a few parts if you want to raise it, if you have different length on each side. Has me sitting in it. We have one the main how it's mainly is built, but many have also an extra strap. They have 2 straps, either the lowest, the middle, or the lower and the higher. Depends on how much support you need. You can get a lower seat if you want. Then it's just cut here. We add the extra leg back support to get more support for higher injuries. And it's the same. You can just cut it down. And this one has a brake as well that you can take on and off. Yeah, that's a strap above the thigh and a strap at the leg that push the leg forward. As I said, we can change parts on the sled. This is one of the athletes we've been working with for many years. He is an amputee above the knee on the left side. Here you can see where how it's connected, just support that sits on the thigh, and it's directly connected to the frame. And it also is easy adjustable back and forth. And if the thigh is much shorter, you could just have a tube here and have it connected to the tube. And you can still slide it back and forth. Here's another option. If we had actually had quite many that's amputee in the whole leg is gone, and then we add a support that supports around the hip, instead of making a custom seat that's make the athletes supported. We just have a support that we direct the forces down to the frame, as on the other side where the leg is normal. And in that way we get the same balance. We stop the rotating in the seat. We stop the forces we don't want on the seat. If you didn't have this one, you would try to rotate the seat because of the weight, and we have to would have to make it much stiffer. And in this way, we get the forces down where we want it, and it's still easy adjustable in the length, the angle, and where it's fixed to the frame. All is adjustable, and you can take it off. You can take on a new leg support if it's for a different athlete. We don't change anything on the sled that's can't be reversed. So then we can easily swap between athletes, between setups, and you can easily test different things. And if you want, I can take the next one. And this is actually the same sled with a different support, but you get a totally different sitting position. So instead of building a new sled, we just build a support under the knees. This is the easy way, the quick fix, the quick way of new athletes to be able to test a sled. If you need more support under the thigh, we add a part under the thigh, so we get more support. But by just adding the support under the knee, it works. It's easy. It can be we can change the sled from knee sitting position until this in a few minutes. So very easy to get new athletes to test. And the legs, the knee support is lowered and raised easily, like a bicycle seat, and back and forth by clamp to the frame. So everything, all the parts are clamped to the frame. This is how it looks like. So here you have the main frame, as always, and within knee support. So as I said, if you want more support on the thigh, we can add a part here. And the connection to the skis, as Magnus mentioned, is 2 bindings. I think you mentioned it. Sorry if you didn't. At least 2 bindings, same as this year. The same principle with 2 bindings. We have solved it this way. We have 1 part in the front and 1 in the back. It's the same part. So if you need spare parts, it's exactly the same. It can be adjusted along the frame, as with the knee and the leg support. So you can adjust it if you want to change the point where the forces be pushed down to the ski. You can change the part if you want to raise it or lower the sled, or build a lighter ones or whatever. And yeah, we add 2 bindings, as I said. We use the NIS plate that's only Matsus have now. We just changed the one of the bindings a little bit so it fits in the rear of the NIS plate. Easy to get on and off the ski, fits some, and we have the same on all the sleds, so all the athletes can easily change. And with this, we don't do any changes on the ski. The only customization we do is on the binding. So it's easy to get a new ski if you need, or spare parts or whatever. And we also have built, it's mainly a mountain board, a skateboard, but we just build it so it fits directly on the sled with bindings, brakes in the front. It's like a mountain board that, as we know, a lot of athletes abroad have used for many years, but we optimized it for this kind of use, made it shorter, lighter, and then when it's shorter, easier to get in the car, easier to transport it. You can get it easily on a plane, in a suitcase. We've done it because, yeah. So I don't think I will talk so much about it, but it works. As you know, brakes are attached to the tie strap, so it's easily reachable, and it's stuck there, so you can easily get it when going down if you need it fast. Yes, I think I will stop there. Yes, any immediate questions?
Thank you so much for your presentation, and both you, Anders, and Magnus.
You're welcome.
And maybe I have one question.
Yeah, there's a question from Rolf. So please come off mute.
Yes, thank you, Anders, for this nice presentation. I think it's a good concept. I have questions regards the brakes. So especially for the roller ski.
Okay.
Set. How does it work?
Do you still see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. You haven't, since you asked, you haven't seen it before, I think.
No.
It's the brake is a mountain bike rim brake. It's
okay.
the first, I think, the first hydraulic rim brake they made. So they don't use it anymore, but it can be used for this.
Yeah. Okay, I saw. Yeah.
Then you understand how it.
Yes.
So hydraulic.
Yeah. Okay. I know from a Norwegian company. I don't know if they still exist or what happened, but someone has built roller skis with brakes many years ago.
Correct.
Do you know if this concept could work as well, or what experience do we have in this way? Because I was interesting to implement this on a sit ski, but unfortunately I couldn't find anything anymore. So
okay, you can buy it. It's called Roller Safe.
Yeah.
So they definitely exist. So it's absolutely possible to get it. What we wanted was to be able to have steering on the sled, and with the normal roller skis, even those with the brakes, you can't steer, you can't turn in a good way. So with these, we both have the brakes, the ability to turn. Like on a skateboard, you just change the weight to the direction you want to turn to. And also we have bigger wheels, so it's possible to get on bad roads and gravel roads, and that's it's much more fun going in the woods on a gravel road than on a traffic highly trafficked road.
Okay, and what about the weight with this setup?
The sled itself, complete with brakes, weighs 5.2 kilos. That's with the brake, with the high seat, and all the straps. If you have a lower seat, it's down to 4 kilo or 4.2. It's actually the high seat adds a kilo because it adds so much momentum on the seat that we had to reinforce it. And we also build a carbon version. All the seats and the knee, the leg, the seat are all built in carbon. We build it ourselves. But we also made a version with a carbon frame, and then we were down to 3.3 kilo, I think. Still full adjustable.
Yeah, and the roller, the mountain board roller ski itself.
I think it was 5.5 kilo, and that's the frame, everything, the frame, the brake, with the wheels. Yeah. So the truckers are quite a bit heavy, and the wheels are a bit heavy. Everything adds weight. But so it's much heavier than a roller ski, or it's much heavier, but you can use it for a lot more. So the athletes have both, but when they compete, the best one, they mainly use the roller skis because they feel this is a bit too heavy. But many have used it, and many of the new beginners, they start with this. It's safer, it's easier, you can go wherever you like. So it's nice to have both. Yes.
Okay.
And the frame is well as square with the bindings on.
Anders, do you have the possibility to answer the questions in the chat, because we have to move on to the next part here. So it would be nice if you can just answer them. I think it's a couple of questions there. So we also want to hear from US and Bethan Chamberlain. If you are in there, you can stop your presentation, Anders, so we can see Bethan Chamberlain.
I think I'm out now.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, but can we see you? There you are. Perfect.
Hi. Thank you all for having me here and for doing all of this. This is really cool. It's great to connect in this way. I am talking about equipment more from the development side. My role with the US team is primarily with development. And so as for any of you who saw Eileen's presentation earlier during the athlete session, you could see the demonstration or the photo she put up with the many different sit skis we have at development camps. And that's kind of where that's my area. And so looking at the equipment from this perspective for sit skis specifically, I would say very similar approach to what Ralph kind of already went through of, the biggest challenge with all of this is finding a bucket and a sit ski that works well for all the different individuals that you're going to potentially be working with. And so we have taken an approach which sounds pretty similar to what Ralph did, and we have collected and had made we've got a good collection of sit skis made in 3 or 4 different positions. from those LW12s all the way to designed for the LW10s and everything in between. Within these 4 sit skis, we feel that in different bucket sizes amongst them, we feel that we can get almost anyone in a sit ski for the first experience, just to get out on snow and for us to get an idea of how they're moving and what would work potentially moving forward. We, with all of our designs for this purpose for development, we've kept things pretty simple. We have not done anything. Well, we have some adjustable, a few people that make some adjustable ones here in the US, but primarily we've stuck with pretty much fixed frames. We've found just using these 4 different seats and frames allow us to get pretty much everybody in a sit ski, and the adjustable from our experience become the more moving parts, the more areas that things can break down and whatnot. So we've kind of stayed away from that. We have a number of different outfits that make just basic frames and buckets. We also, some are very specific to adaptive equipment. But then we've also found that many athletes and just ourselves, and starting to talk to different welders, that companies and businesses that often do big projects, even we've got a new folks that, primarily their business is to build high-rise skyscraper buildings, and they can make sit ski frames for us now, which is pretty great. And so just the basic welding and the idea behind what we're looking for, and they can produce some pretty great frames for us that get our sit skiers out there. Let's see. When it comes to the buckets, we also keep them pretty generic. And to start, we're using, basically a sled hockey bucket that we can find from a lot of different places. Again, our goal initially is just to get people out, get them an idea of where they would want to be, and then moving forward from there, getting them into their own custom buckets, which may be a simple frame. And then as they progress, we do have the carbon buckets for our top athletes. And so there's that progression from start to just getting out to kind of that in between, finding something that works well for them, to those that progress to the very top to getting their own specific sit ski. Potentially in the carbon. And our binding, we do have a universal binding system that has been pretty huge for us in just allowing us to be able to ship equipment and skis to different people and know that everything will interact. And so we've developed that a while back before Sochi, and with a front binding and a block. Actually, I have a ski. So many of you have probably seen it. So this is our regular binding. And we have these blocks that are engineered with all of our sit skis have rails that drive in here and then go into a normal binding. And so we've kept all those the same for development. That's, I don't know if pretty simple. And I don't know if there are any questions, but that's kind of everything that I have.
Thank you so much, Bethan. If there's some questions, feel free to ask. So very good to hear from all of your coaches from different experiences. So a big thank you to you, Bethan.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Good. If you have some questions to any of the speakers, feel free to ask. Either you are a coach or an athlete. So we will have this chat open. Okay, then we have the last presentation tonight. Len Appadale from Canada and the World Paranordic Skiing Sport Technical Committee, head of technical control with will present this topic for us, which is the equipment control. So, Len, are you with us?
Okay, there we are. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Excellent.
And I see you as well.
And see me. Okay, great. Hello, everybody. It's nice to listen in and see and hear people that haven't spoken to or listened to for some time. So great presentations, exciting to see these developments in equipment and continued evolution in the sport. What I was going to talk about today was just to take a quick overview of the equipment rules and control process. So I'm going to just share my screen here, and we go to the web page from the International Paralympic Committee. Can you see this, the IPC Handbook? So I just wanted to start and indicate that the IPC Handbook is sort of the foundation of all of the rules and policies that apply to our sport. And within the IPC Handbook, we have this IPC policy on sport equipment, which governs sport equipment in all sports, and it includes some basic principles and definitions that say the fundamental principles regarding the use of equipment are safety, fairness, universality, and physical prowess. So I think safety and fairness are fairly clear. Universality is an interesting concept because, as we've heard today, particularly with regards to sit skis, in our sport, all of our sit skis are custom made equipment. And there are few models probably that are being used out there that are strictly commercially available. But of course, some commercially available equipment is also used in competition. But the nature of the sport and the uniqueness of the impairments of the different athletes has led this to evolve into really this customization, which has always been there in our case and continues to be there. The physical prowess component of this policy, of course, is basically indicating that it's the human power that has to power, and that mechanical devices or advantages built into the equipment are not allowed at all. So the equipment can't provide mechanical advantage to athletes in the sense that it can move or add energy to the process. So from this policy, we then go to our rules. So here's the World Paranordic Skiing website, and we have our Paranordic Skiing rules and regulations here. And section 224 deals with equipment controls, 224-8, and 224-9 deals with the specific equipment rules. Most of this section is dedicated to sit skis because this is our one of our most fundamental pieces of equipment that has been the subject of a lot of discussion, and as there are so many variations on it, it's important to have some very clear rules and guidelines. So I just wanted to review these quickly. This is a Nordic Sit Ski. So the sit ski by definition consists of a sitting device with a fixed seat that's not adjustable during the race. So the models we saw today, some of the adjustable ones are fine because these are adjusted before the race takes place and they can't be adjusted during the race. So no issues with those models that we saw here. The sit ski, of course, is mounted on a pair of skis or roller skis for summer competition. No springs or flexible articulations are allowed in any segment of the sit ski, including in the connection with the skis. The connection must be rigid. So this is fairly clear. The next section says that the maximum allowable height difference between the point of contact with the buttock, with the seat, and the top of the sit ski is 40 centimeters, okay, which includes the cushion segment. So I'm going to show you some examples and measurements, but this is a critical aspect of the actual sit ski devices, and one that has caused some issues in the past during inspections due to different interpretations. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit more with some examples. The sit ski athlete has to be seated on the sit ski at all times during the race, meaning that the sit ski's buttocks have to remain in contact with the seat in accordance with the classification rules and regulations. Okay, so this also refers to classification rules and regulations that have additional information related to the different classes and the contact with the seat. So this is very important because during the activity of skiing, particularly as the athletes become positioned more vertically with weight distributed on the knees and the buttocks, it's very easy if they're not strapped in tight contact with the ski to come off of the seat and back down. And this is one issue that we often get a lot of questions and have to look at during competition. So to prevent the movement of the buttocks off the seat, the upper thigh, okay, and this is defined as the proximal femur, or the hip must be strapped to the seat using a non-flexible material. So this is also very important, that the seat belt is not flexible and that it's tight enough that the athlete can not come up and down off of the seat during skiing. Okay, so those are the key rules related to the sit ski. You see there are also some other rules related to biathlon rifles and goggles that are in here, but we won't talk about those today. And then there's some additional references to prohibited technology and so forth. Okay, so how do we control for these rules? Well, the first step in our control, if we go back up to equipment control here, and actually I will start even higher in terms of competition equipment and technology. This says that it's the competitor who's responsible for the equipment that they use. They can only take place in sanctioned competition if their equipment complies with the rules in 224. And if there's any conflict or sorry, this is referring to FIS rules. So FIS specifications for competition equipment like ski boots and poles and straps and things like that are also used as a reference for equipment rule, but now we are focusing on sit skis. This section here, point 5 and point 6, relates to new developments in competition equipment. So if there is some new technology that is completely different from what is being used on a regular basis in the sport in terms of equipment, then this new technology should actually be submitted to the Sport Technical Committee for review and approval before it goes into the equipment inventory for competition. So, for example, we actually received a referral from Tessier this summer with regards to their sit ski that we saw earlier to ask whether this would comply with the rules, and we are able to respond that yes, this piece of equipment would be something that would be able to use and was consistent with the type of technology and rules that we were seeing. Now, in terms of actual equipment controls, the Sport Technical Committee does monitor the equipment and is responsible for monitoring and evaluating equipment to ensure that it complies with the rules. And we have the ability to check this equipment at any time, but this does not necessarily mean that we physically check every piece of equipment, because once again, the principle is that it is the athlete that's responsible to ensure that their equipment complies with the rules, not the Sport Technical Committee. But the Sport Technical Committee has the role of checking and doing inspections from time to time to ensure this. Now, to facilitate this process and be able to monitor the wide range of equipment that's out there, we have established the equipment inventory process in SDMS, whereby all adaptive sport equipment, and this applies to all sit skis, needs to be entered into the equipment inventory so that it can be reviewed and checked by the Sport Technical Committee, and it's basically also a declaration by the athlete that their equipment that they're putting forward is complying with the rules, and it provides a record of what equipment they're actually using for competition so that this can be checked during the season as need be. So the sport equipment inventory is in the SDMS, and in the fall of every year we request that by November that athletes are uploading their equipment into the inventory so that we can begin to check and review and ensure that we're ready for the season going forward. Now, the SDMS here provides a template for submitting the equipment and a record. This one is blank right now, but I wanted to go to the actual document here, and here it is. You can find in the documents section of the website, there's a user manual for this equipment registration. And this shows you how to enter into the SDMS and where to go in terms of accessing the data sheet in order to add the information. So you can see there's a variety of criteria here for sit skis. We choose the sport, we choose the equipment type as sit ski. If there is a manufacturer or company, commercial company that has made the sit ski, then it should be entered here. If it is a custom sit ski, then it can be indicated that it's a custom sit ski. And here, very important, the height of the sit ski, which means the height of the seat above the ski, needs to be declared in this field here, because this is one of the ways that we can check for equipment that is very close to the threshold, and it may need to be checked in the field, and I'll show you some more about that. And then there's some additional fields here for a technical description. Here you can add information about what type of construction it is, if it's aluminum or if it's fiber or some other type of equipment. This is helpful information for us to have a sense of the range of type of equipment that's out there. And there's also a room here for comments by the NPC in relation to this equipment. In addition to this data on the equipment, it's also required that photos of the equipment be uploaded. And we're asking for normally 6 photographs of the equipment. where there's a photograph of the sit ski from both the left side, the right side, the front, and the back, and looking down from the top. So sorry, five photos. And with these photos, we then have a record of that, and we can also see the type of construction of the sit ski, as well as have an indication of the height of the seat. And when these photos are taken, we ask that people use a tape measure or something in the photos to be able to demonstrate the height of the seat, so that we can see how they are measuring that, and that the measurement is correct. So here is an example of the photo uploads for a set of sit skis. I know you can't see a lot of detail, but I'm going to show you some more in a second here. And here's an example of how to include the measuring tape in the picture so that we can zoom into the photos and have an indication of where what the height of the ski is. So once again, this 40 centimeters applies from the top of the ski right here up to the point where, if you go below the hip joint, the buttocks immediately below the hip joint is the point that we're looking at for the measurement. So this is where normally the weight of the athlete will be sitting on the sit ski. And so having these measurements is very helpful for us to see where that is. This sit ski, the Norwegian sit ski, is very clear as to where the top of that cushion is. And we can see 40 centimeters here. It's just below 40 centimeters. And this is where the athlete's hip joint would be sitting. And here you can see the belt that is strapping them on. Sometimes with these bucket seats, it's much harder to tell from these photos with the tape measure where the height is. So if we think something is close to the threshold, then we also have a device that we bring with us into the field at competitions that we are able to measure down into the seat and up from the base to determine the actual height. So yeah, so these details, as well as the deadlines and the renewal process, are all outlined in this document, which you can find in the documents section. So now I'm just going to come back in and see if I can bring another. I'm going to change my screen to another document. I just need to find.
We have a couple of minutes left, Len. So,
yeah, this won't take long. I just will show. Okay, I think this is, yeah, here it is here. So, so this is an example of some information. This is from a previous year where we went through the equipment inventory in November and identified a series of skis to be checked. And you can just see some close-up pictures. In this case, for example, in this particular ski, the height was right at 40 centimeters, but the height was measured to the top of the bar. And then you can see that on top of this, there's a thick cushion and a seat that's even higher. So actually the athlete appears to be sitting higher than the 40 centimeters allowed. And this is something that we would check at the competition in the field. And this has been a source of some confusion where we have had to disqualify athletes' equipment in the past because they misinterpreted and they built the sit ski or had the sit ski built with the frame to 40 centimeters, but didn't think about the thickness of the seat as well. So you can just see again some other examples of similar elements where we identify different skis to check, and all of these pictures were taken out of the equipment inventory and put together in a list for our technical delegates and officials to check at a first competition. So yeah, so that's all I have for now. If there are any questions, be happy to answer them.
Thank you so much, Glenn. It was fantastic. Elke, do we have some questions? Not in the chat, but maybe you have some questions. You know this thing very well.
No, I think so. There's no question in the chat from the participants, but I think it's important to look at the equipment from different sides and also from the official side, and not invent something that is totally out of line. So I think it's an important piece here, and want to thank Len for presenting that and showing how the officials' eyes works when they're looking at the equipment. No, I think we had a really good round view on the sit skis, and really thank you to all the coaches that presented their experience with that and how they approach the topic, because that's key, and it's important for the athletes to have a very good sit ski that makes them competitive in the races. So I don't know, are there any questions coming up, or everybody is happy?
I think it's just one big thank you. So that's good. I don't see anything. No more questions here, Elke. So
looks fine, yeah.
Good. Okay. Then I think we're done with this session, and this is also the last session with the coaches. So I really have to say thank you to all the coaches and the athletes to part in this session. And like I said in the first session, I hope this can be an annual event, and maybe next year we can meet each other. So a big thank you to the speakers in this session, and a big thank you to all you coaches. So good night.
Good night, everyone.
See you tomorrow for the last